He is a returning speaker. He's also a two-time TEDx speaker. I love TEDx. Amazing young man who is also a cancer survivor. And he is in the entertainment industry, and he is a fighter. He's probably one of the most positive people you'll ever meet. I'd like to introduce you to Justin. Justin, would you come on up here, please?
Good evening, y'all.
Good evening.
Nice to be back. It's an honor. It was 2018 last time I came and spoke at one of these events, and didn't know when we would be able to do this again. And here we are in person, seeing all your beautiful, smiling faces, and we're here, we're healthy, and we're just celebrating life and love. So I'm going to switch microphones real fast.
Wait.
Hey! How's that better? Check 1, 2, rock and roll. PHP, what's up? Good energy. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. My name is Justin Sandler, and I'm just going to jump into a little bit of my story and share a little bit of my philosophy, and hang on. First thing I'd like to ask is a question for everybody. And you don't have to answer this out loud. This is for you to answer within yourself. And I'd like you to think of an obstacle or a challenge that you may currently be facing. It could be personal, it could be in your relationships, it could be work-related, it could be huge, it could be really small. But just think about something and just hold it in your mind, a challenge that you might be facing. And as I continue to speak about my journey and how I went through my challenge, perhaps some of my story may help you find a new way to see your challenge. So I'm going to take you back to the year 2017, just a few years ago. We're in the springtime now, and everything in my life was moving along at an incredible pace. I work in the entertainment industry, I'm an actor, I'm a drummer. I also own a film and photography studio company with my wife. Business was going good, my life was moving in a great place, my career was going to a level where I was like, yes, here we go. Things were moving, I was feeling it, I was ready. I knew that I was about to do something great. And then, on May 4th, I was diagnosed with cancer. What? That was the last thing I was expecting. I was in really good health, my life was going well, and all of a sudden I had this huge diagnosis, and everything had to stop at that point. The cancer was a germ cell tumor. I won't get into the details of what that is, you can look it up, it's called a germ cell tumor, and this tumor was located right here inside of my chest. It was 13 centimeters long, and it was pushing my heart one way, my lung the other way, and attacking almost every major vein and nerve. And it was growing so fast that I couldn't even bend forward and catch my breath. I mean, it was literally pushing elbows out of the way. I didn't want to do chemo or any type of really harsh drug like that. I'm really more of a natural alternative guy. But I was told that if I didn't start a treatment plan right away, that within a few weeks, my heart would be gone. The cancer wouldn't kill me. The heart would collapse from the pressure of the tumor pushing into it. So I literally had to say, okay, I gotta make peace with this. I gotta go ahead and accept this treatment plan. And within 3 days of my diagnosis, I moved into UCLA Hospital to start 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week chemotherapy, 3 different kinds, through a port right here in my chest, 1 week at a time on, 2 weeks off, rinse and repeat all summer long of 2017. Now, when I got this diagnosis, I'm so grateful because I've been working for many years on myself. I know this room here will probably have been in the world of personal development. I'm sure a lot of you have gone into that direction and done work on yourself. But I will say that I went to that direction so much. Personal development is one thing. I was doing meditation practices. I was practicing Buddhism. I had been a vegan since 2011. Physical fitness most of my life. I mean, taking good care of myself. And so when I got the diagnosis, I kind of knew what to do. I dropped in one night, I was chanting, and I was going really deep within inside of myself, and suddenly a message came to me. Out of nowhere, I don't know, it was like a gift. It was words that were forming in my brain. Those words were embrace, love, free. I had no idea what these words meant, but I grabbed them right away and I started to apply them to my particular obstacle. And when you think of your obstacle, I want you to think of these 3 words. Start with embrace, because the first thing I did was I realized that I had a tumor in my chest that wasn't going anywhere. And if I didn't embrace that, then I was fighting against something inside of my own body. And I decided to accept this fact, embrace that there was cancer, that there was a tumor, and now it was time to find a different direction, a different perspective. Like, I could have easily dropped into that all too familiar victim space. Anybody else know what I'm talking about? Yes. I mean, I'm an expert at being a victim throughout my life, and for the first time ever, I said, no, I'm going to change that victim word to victor, and I'm going to accept and embrace what's going on with me.
That's right.
And for your challenge that you're going through, the first thing that you need to do is embrace it and say, yep, there's a challenge. It's not going anywhere. I can't wish it away. I can't pretend that it's not there. So why don't we just embrace it and say, now, let's come up with a rational idea on how we can go through this, how we can be more productive, how this obstacle can actually become the biggest benefit in our lives. And that was what I decided. Now, another thing, and I don't want to get up here and preach to you, but I'm going to preach this one point. And that is, please, don't wait to start working on yourself. Whatever that looks like to you, whatever practices you can do, things are going to eventually happen. Life happens. It may not be cancer, but things happen. If you're already working on yourself, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, when something does come up, you're going to be that much better off to go through it. And I had all the tools that I could have asked for, and I'm so grateful that I was able to drop in and figure this out so quickly. And once I said, okay, I'm going to embrace this, and I'm going to move into the hospital, I'm going to start my treatments, I said, okay, now that I'm going through this, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do chemo for an entire summer? And then what's on the other side of chemo is surgeries. How am I going to face all of this? That easy word came, love. Part 2 is love. And I don't want to sound like cheesy or hippie or whatever, but man, this is so true. It is so true when I said, you know what, I'm going to love my cancer. I'm going to love the chemo because I got to take it into my body anyway. So either I'm going to be like, no, stay away, or I'm going to say, you know what, I love you. Yes. I love this because it's coming into my body to help me. That's right. And this cancer that's inside of me, it's my own cells. It's part of my own body.
That's right.
Why am I going to hate something that's inside of me? Everyone kept saying, Justin, kick its ass, go to war, fight, the F cancer, right? No. I'm not going to declare a war on something inside of me, something that's part of me. That just feels violent. It doesn't feel productive. But love feels really good. And I dropped into that love space, and I held that love space. And when things got hard, and trust me, they did. I mean, all my hair went out. I dropped a bunch of weight. I felt horrible at times, but I kept going back to love and gratitude. And I had dialogues with my tumor, believe it or not. His name was JT, by the way, short for Justin's tumor. And he lived here in my chest, and I held him. And I would sit there by myself at night, and I would start to talk to him. And I literally said, I love you. Man, I'm grateful for you. You're like a mentor and a teacher, better than I could have ever asked for. And while you might be in the wrong place in the wrong time, you still came to do something great. And you're teaching me every single day about myself. And as I continue to learn and experience this, I'm able to share this with other people, as I kept doing, even in my hospital bed, on the hardest of days, putting the camera in my face and doing Facebook Live videos and YouTube videos, because I knew what I was going through could benefit other people's lives. And as things just kept getting harder and harder, I kept staying strong to love, and as I kept going, I reached the end of my chemotherapy. Yes. Not that exciting yet, though. Cliffhanger, there was still a tumor inside of me, it was just dead. So I said thank you to him, and I appreciated him, but guess what? He had to go now. And I gave him the permission to go. I said, it's okay to go, it's safe to go now. I give you permission, you've done your job, but you need to let go. But I needed some help. So I had to go into surgery. As a matter of fact, they sawed me open from my collar down to the middle of my abdomen. They pulled my chest apart. They removed the dead tumor, but it was stuck to everything. They had to remove almost half of my right lung. They took out the entire inside wall of my heart's pericardial sac and patched it with Gore-Tex, which is like stuff that you find in raincoats and gym shoes. One of the craziest things they had to do, though, was my largest vein, the superior vena cava. They had to remove the whole thing, but you can't live without it. So they rebuilt it with bovine heart tissue. I woke up from an 8-hour surgery and I found out I was part cow. Man, as a vegan, That was weird. I didn't know how I felt about that at the time. I was like, that was not on the list of things that could have happened during surgery. Never did they say you might wake up part cow. And then the first thing I thought was, well, if I ever ate meat again, would I be a cannibal? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I'm so grateful for that cow, and every time I see a cow, I give him a hug. I just did that a few weeks ago, and wow, I feel connected, man. So I stayed in this love space, and the recovery from that surgery is a week in the ICU and 2 months in a hospital bed in my house. My wife, Mary Lou, God bless her, she was my caregiver. She never asked for this role, but she stepped up, boy. And she was next to me, by my side, helping me lift my head up, helping me go to the bathroom, helping me bathe, I mean, everything. And so, for every cancer patient, almost for every cancer patient, there is a caregiver that is usually overlooked and underappreciated. So always remember that when you do find someone that's going through cancer, check in with their caregiver, because often they get overlooked, and they're the ones who could really use some support. And God knows she did. And wow, did she stand up. And I'm so grateful that she was in my life. And so I kept going, and we kept going through this recovery. And by that November here, we're still in 2017, I started to feel a little better. And I started getting the okay from my doctors to start working out a little bit, moving a little bit, doing some recovery. And I was like, yes, now I'm going to show the world how it's done. I'm going to come back super fast and super strong, and I'm going to document the whole thing, and I'm going to show everybody how you do it. And I was so excited, and I was working out and things and whatever. But guess what? I didn't complete part 3 of that 3-step process because something still didn't feel exactly right. I wasn't happy. I was feeling weird sensations in my body, in my spirit. I didn't feel like something wasn't complete. I didn't know what it could have been, but something was still unfinished. And then, one day in December, the 16th of December to be honest, I had to go in. There was something weird happening in my heart, some weird pain in my chest. And I went and had an echocardiogram that morning. And by that afternoon, my phone was blowing up from the heart doctor, demanding that I left where I was and head straight to UCLA Hospital and go to the ER. Do not pass go, do not collect money, just go to the ER. When I got there, there was doctors waiting for me in their street clothes who were on call. They literally grabbed me, they rushed me in, and they told me that my heart was collapsing inside of its own sac under more than a liter of fluid. They call this the Widowmaker. Had I not had that test that morning, had that not beautiful intervention happened, then I may have been too late by the time I actually felt like something was wrong. They rushed me in, they had to puncture my chest, they had to start draining fluid off of my heart. By the way, I was awake the whole time because I had just had lunch and they couldn't put me under. So I got to be a witness to my own heart surgery. They fluid off my heart. They saved my life because that day was the closest I ever came to dying throughout my entire cancer journey. I was technically done with cancer, and here I was going into the hospital almost dying. A week later, still in the hospital, my team came back and said we need to do another surgery. There was complications from the big open chest surgery. It turned out that my heart and my left lung had fused together. They had to dissect the organs apart. They cut a permanent hole in the bottom of my heart's pericardial sac called a pericardial window. And this way, in case it fills up with fluid again, it can actually drain out. That was a lot. I spent a couple weeks in the hospital. I was released just in time for New Year's 2018. In 2018, January, I got test results back once again, and I was declared officially cancer-free. But the journey wasn't over. I mean, no more surprises here in the hospital, but honestly, that was like the halfway point. Because recovery was long and challenging. I mean, my body was just done after those heart surgeries. I had nothing left. I couldn't go back to work. I couldn't do much physically. I just had to chill and recover. But a lot of things were still coming up. A lot of frustrations, a lot of old issues were resurfacing. And that's when I realized that I needed to go back and start at the top again. Take my own advice. Remember, embrace, love. I had to go and do that again and embrace. This is where my body is today. Sure, I'm 20 pounds lighter and I'm missing all my hair, and this is where I'm at. I have scars all over my chest. But I'm going to embrace this moment. This is where I am right now, and I'm going to also love it. I'm going to love this space. And and I'm going to move at a nice, gentle pace, and whatever happens, happens. I'm alive, and I'm here for a purpose, and I'm here to share my message, and there's a bigger reason that I survived this whole cancer, and I'm going to keep living in that truth, and I'm going to embrace and love where I am. And then it finally hit me one day. Free. I need to free the obstacle from myself. I need to free the idea that I'm still a cancer patient. I'm healthy now. I don't have to keep thinking like I'm a patient. I need to say that I overcame this obstacle. I saw it through. I embraced it. I loved it. I saw it to the end. I learned so much I couldn't even imagine. And now I need to let it go. I need to let it go. I need to free it so that I can move forward and step into my greater self. To step into more of my purpose so that I can do things like this and speak and tell my story. I got to do my TED Talks and start working on my book and really do things that would change the world, because that's where the value is for me. There's no value in me going back into victim space or playing small. That's right, it's time to play big. And so I said, I'm going to free this obstacle and I'm going to go forward. So that's what I'd like to invite you all to do. Again, I asked you at the beginning, think of a challenge or an obstacle you may be facing. For whatever that may be, or whatever obstacles may come to you, stop for a second, and before it gets overwhelming for us, stop and say, wait, what if I embraced this obstacle? What if I came from a place of love and saw it through, and I was looking for the way that I could benefit my life from overcoming this? And when I find that benefit and I see myself to the end, free it, let it go, move on, and share what you've learned with others. Be your best self, live your best life, and love often. Thank you guys so much.
Justin, thank you so much.